Okay, so I'm going to throw some speculation at you some more. There's another reason why I think Bilderberg is meeting, because apparently the situation with World Health Organization, the policy, the drafting of the pandemic treaty, the first meeting was a disaster, okay? They're saying it's a disaster, and so they're going to shut down all other input on the pandemic treaty, and they're going to keep it out of the public eye. As of today, the Intergovernmental Negotiating Body, which was established by the World Health Organization in 2021, they are helping in drafting the pandemic treaty, but they're going to keep their second meeting a secret. Apparently, let's see here. In addition, the first round of hearings, which took place in April, featured a number of spoken contributions which are archived. These spoken contributions also reflected a general disinclination on the part of the contributions to endorse a treaty, which would effectively strip sovereign nations of their health sovereignty. So apparently, the global health talks were clouded by conspiracy theories about a pandemic treaty, and therefore, the conspiracy theorists won. That's what basically it's saying here. Those who are saying that the organization is conspiring against you and me, they got the message out there. I think we should applaud this, because apparently they just want us to sit back and not get involved, so they're not going to tell us any more about what the UN has in terms of document contributions and contributions to this this idea of having an international ID or an international treaty with the World Health Organization to declare an emergency, a public health emergency, whenever they want to. You know, and what's good about this here, this is good news, okay? The good news, our futures lie in the balance. We know this. And this is why I think a lot of people are openly talking about this. We need to obliterate these ideas of world takeover. And individual and collective voices should be there, and they should always talk about this and reveal it and never be silenced. But, of course, Bilderberg is meeting now, and they've got a lot of things on their agenda, but I have a feeling that they are a little bit miffed at the fact that the conspiracy theorists or the disinformationalists are finding ways to destroy their ministry of truth, finding ways to destroy their little meetings about amendments and treaties. And, oh, my gosh, it's great news to hear this, but it's bad news to hear that Bilderbergs are meeting. Let's go to John in New Jersey. Hey, John, you're on Ground Zero.
Clyde, how you doing?
Doing good.
You're very interesting to talk about, you know, what's going on. You're talking about manufacturing consent. What needs to go on now. Now, these powers can seem to do what they want, right?
Right.
But at the same time, I don't know if it's a little game with them or it's their own internal rules. They need us to go along with it. They need us to ask for it, you know? You know, it's kind of like with these school shootings. You know, they need us to ask for it. Hey, Mr. Biden, please do something.
What do they do? They passive-aggressively say, well, what are we supposed to do? Oh, let's give Joe Biden one-word sentence because he can't say full sentences. Have him say words like enough. Do you notice that? I have one word to say, enough. Yeah, because you can't say anything else, Mr. Biden. And
well, you know, it's also talismanic, very simple words to rule the American public.
Yeah.
You know, it's like how Biden talks. You know, these people, not Biden, I don't know who Biden is. I don't know if he's a puppet. I don't know if he's an actor. I don't know who he is.
Right.
But there's very similar propagandists behind them. This reminds me back, I'm going back to 2010.
Uh-huh.
I live in a very kind of like rich, Tony little area of Westchester, and I was looking through my town. I only lived in town like 5,000 people. We had some Hollywood actors, some TV people. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at who donated what to make contributions, right? You know, for taxes, you have to declare it for taxes and some public record.
Right.
I saw somebody donated $10,000 to Planned Parenthood. I was wondering, who would donate $10,000 to Planned Parenthood? What kind of sicko is this? I looked up the name, Lloyd Morrison. I didn't know who it was. And he only lived about a 5-minute walk from me. I knocked on his door. But Lloyd Morris says the person who started Sesame Street. He was also a board member of the RAND Corporation, a board member of the Brookings Institute. And you just mentioned those two names today, right? So I was wondering, so you have to start thinking, what would an organization, especially the RAND Corporation, was really a war planning think tank. Be involved with an organization like Sesame Street. Well, in 1965, they decided to change the demographics of America. It's not about demographics.
Well, not only that, but have you noticed how they've changed Sesame Street? Sesame Street is woke now. It's all woke.
Well,
everything about it.
But back then it was woke also. Because
it was liberal. It was liberal, but we weren't discussing questions of Muppets and whether or not they have different sexual orientations.
Right. Okay, but that's the point. Well, back then they were woke too because they promoted multiculturalism. It was banned in Mississippi at the time. It doesn't matter, but I'm just saying. But in your time, what I'm trying to say, they target the children. So they use these very benign TV shows. Back when I was born in '79, I remember getting this little magazine called The Weekly Reader.
Yeah,
I learned about globalism back then.
Dynamite.
They talked about 2020.
Remember Dynamite? Weekly Reader, Dynamite, highlights for kids.
Highlights for kids, yeah. I mean, they told us about overpopulation. So when I was less than 10 years old,
right?
Talking about 2020, 2030, that always stuck in my mind.
Right.
There's too many people. We need to reduce the population. So they're getting our consent early.
Yes.
And they're building this matrix for us. And and that's why a lot of people, like you say, they don't want to hear it because they don't know anything else. You have to have a little skeptical mind. Maybe you're just born with it. I don't know. Maybe you didn't get.
I think we need to break. We need to find a way to break the programming. And John, you seem like you've broken the programming. I really appreciate you calling in tonight. Thanks. I really appreciate it.
All
right, Bubba. It's a great call. Let's go quickly to Bruce in New Hampshire. Hey, Bruce, you're on Ground Zero.
Hi, Clyde. Glad to speak to you. You're right on the ball tonight, and every word's the truth. I had a scary thought in the beginning of your show that why the Bilderbergs are meeting in Washington, and seemed every word you spoke from then on seemed to fortify what I was thinking. But they're sitting above the gopher hole, which is the underground system of the United States, which they built.
Yeah.
And that's a good way for them to escape. They're backed into a corner, which they were back when we arrested that guy, and he died in jail supposedly, and he had an island full of kids.
That's a scary thought because they're close to places where they can hide if something goes down while they're having their meetings, and it just seems to me like when you have Musk saying, "I got a bad feeling here, I'm going to lay off employees," and that's the headline of the day. And then you hear, well, they're meeting in Washington, D.C., the Bilderberg Group. Who are they? Well, they're CEOs of companies. They're, movers and shakers, bankers, people like Bill and Melinda Gates, the Clinton Foundation, all these people that are part of these think tanks, all meeting together in Washington, D.C. for this meeting, just popped up out of nowhere. Here it is now. The Bilderberg Group is the godfather of all conspiracy theories and Illuminati, talk. And here they are meeting in Washington, D.C., and you're saying, why all of a sudden do we have all of these meetings in a row from World Economic Forum to World Health Organization, now the Bilderberg Group? It just it strikes me as like a company waiting to restructure because something's about to go down.
And to throw sugar on top of that, you got the Russian prime minister saying he's got 4 nukes headed our way.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to think about. It's edge of your seat stuff, be honest. And the fact that it's being done on dumping day also sends a chill down my spine because every time they dump something on a Friday, they do it because they hope the weekend will be long enough time for you to forget about it so they can reshape it and reread it. And, it's just weird how things are happening the way they are. Give us a call tonight, 503-225-0860. That's 503-225-0860. The Bilderberg Group are meeting in Washington, D.C., and it's really creepy that we've had now 3 think tank meetings within weeks of each other, within days of each other. Makes me wonder if they're going to reshuffle and recalibrate the system.